and then I watch Beverly Hills Cop. It's just the way it works. I have an agenda. Shiny. Gotta watch that.
All right. So speaking of things gotta watch, you wrapped up finally?
Oh yeah, dude.
Did you catch up on X-Men?
I binged it. Like and I'm glad I did because some of it. All right, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Going through it. Yeah. Overall, it's like A+, dude. Like I actually really loved it because the reason why I love this version of the X-Men is because it did put us in the Marvel world. It put us in not just their world. It was them living in a world of superheroes, and it wasn't a focal point on X. Yes,
they were all affected.
Affected, and I was like sitting there going like, well, why aren't the Avengers? Oh, they are kind of there and aware and affect. So I
even the villains are kind of like the fuck.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it was mentioned. It's like there's a reason why Mojo's here and he's doing his thing. He's unleashed, and then and had like cool. I want to say Easter eggs, but it was like it was all in the world. And this is where okay, guys, I'm gonna start this off just by saying this right now before we get into like the X-Men cartoon and all that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
I this is how I want the MCU to handle the X-Men into the MCU. And now I'm excited for that to happen to phase 5, whatever phase they're gonna do, to bring them in. I'm like, this cartoon got me more excited for that than just the notion of they're doing an X-Men movie or they're coming into the MCU. Like, okay, it all came back to me. Like everything that I knew from childhood. I'm like, I know all these characters. I know all these dudes. I know their backs. And the cartoon did a lot more for me than the X-Men movies and all that stuff. So just wanted to put that out there.
I never watched
the original.
X-Men cartoon. Yeah, I didn't. I was, in '97.
I don't remember it, but yeah.
I was more of a DC fan anyway, so I was watching Batman the animated series because I was married. Julie and I would get up every Saturday morning and watch Batman and the Jackie Chan adventures, but X-Men never came across our radar really.
But this was more during, you weren't married in 93, 94, 95.
Oh no, I'm talking 97. So it was 90. We got married in 97.
This is 97, but X-Men was out 93, 94.
Yeah, this was
okay.
This is 97. Yeah, they went year by year. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but I mean,
when you're talking the older cartoons, the older ones, like that was
even the same. I mean, I'm always been DC, but the X-Men have always been a little bit different, right? And part of it, it's Wolverine. Wolverine's fucking awesome, right? No matter how you cut it, but all the characters really, and Magneto in this, by the way, is just the fucking coolest character ever in the history of characters. I love I love Magneto right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just lost my train of thought for a reason.
Moocher, I need a Magneto is right shirt.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. Magneto was right. Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
But X-Men were always
always
the coolest shit, man. So this is neat. So we watched that cartoon, and wasn't there a video game? I really distinctly remember
X-Men versus Capcom.
Yeah, but I mean like a player game, like you're in a
the 4-player. It was a 4-player
like
huge arcade,
like Ninja Turtles,
okay.
like Ninja Turtles and Simpsons.
Oh, okay, got you, like that.
And it was based around all those same characters that had.
They had the side scrolling, but they also had a fighting game too. So like the Jubilee episode was like it's like a page out of the book, dude. It was cool.
Well, seriously. The biggest one is part of that Versus series. Marvel versus Capcom,
right?
X-Men versus Street Fighter,
right?
And then the big one is Marvel versus Capcom 2.
Yeah.
And this had a lot in it. Cable's last outfit was his outfit in the game. Rogue did moves when she fought the one and remember when they did the slow close-up of her flipping and her jumping? Those were all video game moves.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh my God, this is great. Like it touched on so many levels. I mean, and you guys are all right where it brings us back. I know Scott didn't watch it, but we did, so it even brought us back because after every freaking episode, I felt like I had homework to do. I did because that's when I was
give us
watching
homework. The last 3-4 episodes, they gave us homework to go back and watch other episodes.
Watch other episodes.
Did you do it?
The old ones, yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
On Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They just refreshed you and told you the backstory, and you kind of figured out just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I was binging it, because I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna binge this. I was like, okay, I got a lot to talk about, and like. Because again, the homework, right? You go back and there's a lot of things. And this works as a animated series level, meaning you just jump right in. It's almost like what DC does now with their comic books, right? You pick up a Batman now, and it's in the world, and then it just goes. It's a limited run, 7 episodes, whatever series.
Yeah,
and it thrusts into the world. You don't need no backstory, but this you do get some back, but also it's very forward progressing. Everything, and I dug it.
You didn't have to watch the series from before,
no,
because they really break it down. You just know you're in a world where Xavier is supposedly dead, right? And you can put that together really fast, really quick, and roll. And you're like, all right, well, I know the characters already, so we're good to go.
Put you right into the plot of this storyline and go.
And even if you don't know, you have a family missing a father, and the stepfather came in and tried to take.
It's very easy to pick it up.
Yeah.
Correct.
I was talking.
That was the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jake on the side, and I'm like, "So you've actually got me now watching the original X-Men cartoon," and he said, "That's exactly what we wanted. We wanted to drive everybody to the original X-Men cartoon, get caught up on it, and then come back and get the complete story." So as far as that goes, I think it was mission accomplished. I do feel it was a great series, but I feel like some of the episodes jumped around a little bit.
There's a lot of there was some side things going on.
There's some side things and some other things that just kind of
magically happened out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like the Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah. Boom.
I looked at Julie and I said, "Oh, that was convenient."
Right.
There it is. Convenience.
Old. It is. Yeah.
Storm loses her abilities. She just thought really hard and got him back. And it's like,
but
you have to look at it as a comic.
It removed her from Genosha, where she would have been, a formidable threat against the Sentinels that whenever they attacked. So.
I understand. I get it, but it was like, okay. I obviously there is, and I know we'll get to it, but obviously there is a season 2. It says to be continued. It had some teasers, had some things like that, and all that stuff.
Apocalypse is coming.
Yeah, and I was like, my whole thing is everything with Marvel, DC. It's always like, no matter what tragic happens on screen, it's not gonna last, and it's just gonna be sad for that moment, and then tomorrow everything's brand new. And this cartoon it was really no difference. Like there was the one before the finale, like Wolverine, I thought he was dead. Like boom, and I know that. But see, for a limited series, they can do that, right? Not for a long haul run, right? You would have to do that. But like, I thought Wolverine just died. I thought Magneto got killed. Gambit's dead. Is he? I don't know, because they teased his return at the.
They have time travel a lot, and that's part of the problem.
They teased Gambit's return. I missed that.
Yeah, there was after end credit scene.
Yeah, there's an after credit scene.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Okay.
See,
all right. They're in present time. They're in present time. Genosha, right? And
yes.
And was it Apocalypse? Holds the card, Gambit's card in his hand. I forgot what he says, but it says to be continued.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought he just knew he was dead.
He had his card in his hand. He had the.
I know. I just thought I thought that was just showing.
Oh no, dude, he's bringing him back. Like it's
I'm worried about the time travel, but wait, what just happened to Cable?
Well, they went into
he died, right?
No, where did Cable go? Because they all disappeared at the end. They went to
Cable's just sitting in a diner. He's just sitting in a diner with one.
He's in present time.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And then Cyclops and
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And went
Cyclops
to the future where Cable went. They sent Cable.
And they saw Cable.
Or Nathan and so we'll see that story unfold, and then you go back in time for Apocalypse, wherever the rest of the cast is.
So they're going to influence this young Nathan to do something different, right? They're going to teach him what to do and how to do it. And regular Cable, when he grows up, is going to go back and
it can turn into all of the time travel paradoxes where this is what's always been happening.
Right.
I don't think they'll take the time to. Yeah, I don't think they'll take the time to fix anything. It'll just be, it's the next story on to the next story.
Convenience.
I love that. Well, Bishop said it to Forge. That was a great scene. I love that part. That was the opening of all the time travel stuff.
Right.
Once again, we have to go save the X-Men.
But I love that board, right? Presumed deceased. And I was like, see, and that's where I was kind of hoping where this cartoon set aside, because it's a standalone. It doesn't mean it didn't have the MCU tag on it. Like I asked you guys, right? Like before, does this have anything to do with anything they could set up in canon MCU? And you said, no, it's a standalone. I'm like, cool, because then we can actually get like a story behind this and again, season 2, season whatever they're going to do. Maybe we will. Maybe Gambit doesn't come back. Maybe it's, whatever. But it's that, and it's twofold, right? So it bugs me, but I'm also appreciative because it doesn't linger on it. Like the convenience thing, we just done. Storm's back, boom, Phoenix, boom. It's awesome.
You know what this is? It's we're gonna get Age of Apocalypse. We're gonna get some kind of alternate timeline. Where Magneto's leading the X-Men for reals this time, it's going to be some kind of adaptation of the original Age of Apocalypse, where Cyclops has one eye and long hair and very emo style.
Right.
Everything is by the time everything is set right. By the time everything is set right, Gambit will be alive. Everybody will be back in their proper place.
Yeah, this is like a journey to get back to square one.
Actually, before we do all this, you know what? Here's the problem. What we just did. This is where it's going. And all I've been saying today was, you know what? I am so glad I have a show where I don't give a fuck where it's going.
Yeah.
I'm just able to sit here and enjoy it, not like this damn Star Wars where I'm stuck into the whole goddamn universe.
Yeah.
Where I can just sit back and, you know what? I don't know enough about X-Men. I know plenty.
Yeah. You're right.
To know every bit of history in here that's going on. I can see what's going on. I know everybody that's in there. But it's like, wow, this is all really cool. And I'm just enjoying the ride, man. And every convenient pop-up, the Phoenix notwithstanding, dude, that was out of the fucking clear blue sky. I watched the last 2 episodes again just to watch that part, and I could not make sense
off camera.
They mention it, though. They mention, her Phoenix
several
and
times.
Like that.
They mentioned her deaths and resurrections.
That it was gone, though.
I didn't see the part of the old episode. Yeah. I know. I just take it as so much, though.
But
that was the clone Jean Grey, right? That was the clone Jean Grey who came.
They don't know. They're not clear. Snyder, and it came out, and now it's gone.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah, it's gone. But I needed a killer because I still feel it.
Yeah, comic. That's how it is. I loved all the Forge stuff.
But take all that away, and I loved everything else because I don't know any better. So anything else, I'm like, if they change a little bit of something, cool.
Yeah, no,
when they rip Wolverine's freaking adamantium out, I thought he was dead too. I didn't know that was in a comic. Guess what? Shocked the shit out of me. I'm like, oh, that was all cool. I was hoping because I was like, that's really neat because this X-Men cartoon, as much as everything else relies on Wolverine the way DC relies on Batman, right?
Wolverine's a background character.
Wolverine is totally background in here. Had a couple cool parts, a couple cool lines, but he's not the main shit.
Yeah.
And they give him that right there. I'm like, they just killed off Wolverine. I'm like, wow.
You know what? But when he stabbed Magneto and then Magneto just destroyed, like basically, I was like, okay, here's how you do it. He took out Magneto and then Logan's dead. Like that's epic to me, like a 1-for-1 kind of thing. And like
scale.
That would be awesome. Like, let's go. Right. And I'm not rooting for that kind of dramatic things all the time, but
it's fun to get you the feeling that it could have happened for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's happening. So we haven't been thinking and guessing. So I was going to say, what? And then
I did myself a disservice. When X-Men, the movie came out in 2000, I decided to do a deep dive and I read everything. I mean, I went back and I read fucking everything. And I kept reading for a good decade. I kept reading. And there's a freaking moth in here. But so I am pretty well versed in X-Men. So I knew what had happened. I knew what they were getting at whenever they ripped the adamantium out of Wolverine. We'll have Bone Claw Wolverine next season. We'll have and I'm telling you, bringing in Apocalypse like that, that we're headed to Age of Apocalypse. You get Apocalypse and time travel. That means things are going to get weird. Things are going to get real weird. So,
and that's cool because I'll just be along for the ride. Because again, with this IP specifically,
I agree.
I'm cool with it weird, right?
Yeah.
Jubilee's powers, right? They just said, "What are you going to hit me with the 4th of July?" That's literally what she is. That was a cool line because
But not only that, it was cool that she said, "Like I haven't heard that one before."
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
There's so much that you have to remember where I think it's cheesy, and then I have to shut my brain off and be like, "Oh, we're in the 90s."
Yeah.
Like, so that is a saying.
Yeah,
it is.
The first shot of the first episode was the Twin Towers, and I'm like, that was jarring. You just don't see that
it's still
anymore,
there.
Really.
Correct.
Yeah,
they got to do it. Yeah,
but
then there's like so much from Scott, and this one had so many. He had so many, and it was the one that got me was let's show them how the Summers do it. Like that, you don't remember? And I was like,
oh man.
But
it's not that I don't like it.
Yeah, no,
it is, but it makes you it makes you love it at the same time of all right. And the
Ernie, I had that same reaction. Like I sat and I watched it. I go, you know what? I'm kind of glad this isn't like just an adult cartoon. It had when I remember the little one-liners here, but not overpowering. It had the, like I said, the Summers do it. It had those things where I'm like, it's a cartoon. This is great. It's because it's reminiscent, right? It's like goes back into those like the things that we love about, like Chris said, taking it face value and what it is, and just waiting for the next week's episode, the serial, right? That's and
I know a lot. Scott always does his homework and knows, like he said, he read all those and knows what they're from. Yeah, correct. I was with Chris on this one and just enjoying it, but at the same time, I felt because we were grown up now, even though the show, as I said, that was set in the 90s in the Saints, it did grow with us too, because there was so much ooh and ah in this show. Making me feel like a kid again, but still enjoying it as an adult.
A lot of throwbacks, Easter eggs. There's
the whole choice with Rogue and the Magneto stuff, and like her actually choosing him and going and feeling something was like, oh my god.
And the Jean Grey Logan, Logan's like even saying this isn't real.
Rogue was fantastic in the entire series. Her
I love that she went bad again.
When she killed the dude.
Yeah.
And everybody stood there. And then it was great to hear Wolverine say, what? She just did what we've all been wanting to do.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I like it when they don't play it safe that much, right?
It took you on such an emotional roller coaster. I think that was great because it grew as we grew.
Yeah.
So, to show those things, it was still oohing and awing us, but making us feel like a kid, even though the grown-up stuff that was in there.
Yeah.
I mean, as you go back, I don't know for you guys rewatching the old ones, or Scott, when you see it, there was some grown-up stuff in there too that I didn't catch until going back and rewatching it, right? Like they.
I was in there for the action, dude. I was in there. Yeah, that's what I was in there for. I wanted to see the fights. I wanted to see what was going on. I was not in there paying attention to the story as much as I do now.
Yeah,
sure.
Right.
Yeah, because
so rewatching it is great as well.
Yeah,
because we all know the X-Men main plot, or the main conflict, humans versus evolution, mutants, and the evolution thing, and then Magneto wants
the Sentinels to destroy are always an issue forever. The
Sentinels, right? And a lot of times, like we said, when this brought it back, it's like I know these dudes, I know these characters, because we always thought like, okay, what's their power? What do they do? I remember getting the cards when I was a kid, and I just read their powers, and I would be like, hell yeah, I want this on my team. I want this dude on my team.
I can't find my cards.
And then
so great now.
Yeah, I wish I had those. I would. But that's how I was introduced to Marvel Universe and X-Men, was those trading cards, and you read the bio in the back, and then because I was reading like Spawn and DC and stuff like that, wasn't really. I depended on the cartoons and the movies for the Marvel history of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So watching this did bring it all back. Like I know these characters. I know the history to them. Not all these different subline stories, so much, but the characters themselves. And now I thought it was great. And then I also think like this is the show to have that. It's like, okay, boom, she's Phoenix. It's gone. It's almost like she tapped in that superpower. She could tap into it again later. It's a cartoon. That's what happens. Even as a kid, we didn't get those kind of like complicated explanations up until.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It was just kind of like there and gone. And hey, she got that power. And then you go to the schoolyard. You're like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Don't bring Phoenix out.
It's true. We always did. You went and you played off of what you just saw in the cartoon.
Yeah,
it was always at the playground. It was.
Yeah, it was. It was always.
Yeah,
it was always like. Did you guys see that? Yeah. All right,
I'm going to say that at work tomorrow. Then
you're going to
make me bring out the
dude. The guys in art class would have me build like giant arm cannons out of cardboard and stuff like that. That's what I would do.
I still
we
do
go out and play Transformers.
When I get a tube and I'm like. Such heroic nonsense.
Just blasting kids.
You have to.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you guys with all of the Easter eggs, and I call them Easter eggs, but special appearances.
Yeah,
we had Spider-Man. We had
Spider-Man
Daredevil.
was great. Daredevil. Yeah.
We had Daredevil. Do you know, we just talked about this in an episode of Sarlacc about Sigourney Weaver being brought in.
Yeah.
And I felt like that'd be too much. Do you guys feel if they brought back those cartoons, that'd be too much?
Not cartoon wise, dude. I think we could consume the animated universe so much because again, we don't put that much. Like when you have something as important as MCU or Star Wars timeline, it's very hard for us to like sit back and enjoy and take it for what, because we always have to have, where is this, what's happening, and then again it everything changes everything. So to have, like, if they brought back Amazing Spider-Man or Spider-Man and Friends, if they brought back Spider-Man, right? Yeah, so like if they brought that back as a, you know, it doesn't even have to be like a continuation, it could be like a mini series, you know, or whatever it is.
Okay.
I think it would be fantastic, and I think I would love to consume it because, you know, like I said, I didn't get a lot of my Marvel knowledge out of the comic books itself. I got it out of the cartoons and the cards and everything else. So it's almost like a refresher to me, and I live in that animated world versus, you know, what the comics did, right? So I was like, give me more. This is great because they could do so much more with animation than they can with live action and all that.
It was just something I was just thinking about, because everything that was around X-Men was shown in these episodes. The Iron Man and Captain America.
It was the world. Dude, I'm telling you, the Marvel world we lived on. We didn't live in.
They were in Wakanda.
That was new. That was crazy.
With
we had all those old cartoons.
T'Challa's father too.
Yeah,
King T'Chaka.
Yeah.
It was cool.
They did great. I would love another Spider-Man cartoon.
I actually was like almost like when they started doing that, when I started showing, like, because the threat was the threat of the X-Men story, right? Until it got to this bigger catastrophic event where now the Avengers are like, Captain America was in with the president. Now it's like you got their attention, but they didn't have time to like gather and interfere. So it was cool that the conflict was the mutant conflict, like always. The Avengers were doing their thing, and it was just cool that they all lived in that world together, and we saw it. And versus like in the X, we never saw them, and here in Avengers, we never saw the X, somewhat.
They exist somewhere.
Yeah, this was cool to see them all in react to what's going on in that particular world. That was fun.
Yeah. I'd personally love to see a continuation of all those other characters in that same time frame. Why not keep the Marvel animated universe here? Why not expand on this, right? If it's done so well with X-Men, I think it'd be killer. The Avengers 97, you know, that kind of, or the Avengers
show what Spider-Man was doing,
whatever
what Daredevil was doing.
Yeah, so and then
cut those into those shows.
That was
that we saw.
I wouldn't mind.
You could even do crossovers, man. You could have have an adaptation of like the Secret Invasion. Here I am doing things, you know. You could do crossovers. You could have an animated universe that takes place in the 90s like that. That's just slightly lighthearted with a darker themes, like the world was.
You could do more with it because you can get away with more, right? You can get away with so much more in
Your
animated.
Can't age out.
Exactly.
Well, it's hard with X-Men, right? To carry on somebody else's series based off of this, like to say the time frame, right? To put like say Spider-Man during this event. Unless it's just a very strictly short, like you said, a limited.
Yeah,
because of the time travel. Because something's about to happen in X-Men. You know what I mean? So you'd have to, at the same time, you'd have to wrap around that Spider-Man.
But Spider-Man, X-Men, Hulk, Avengers, they all had that though. Remember where you would have your little 3-story arc?
Yeah, as long as they did that.
I would go for that. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we had a Spider-Man of what happened. Yeah.
But you know, we saw Gambit die, right? Mostly. He's mostly dead. He's not completely. He's mostly
dead.
So, but we didn't see Spider-Man react to that. We didn't see Captain America react to that, really. We didn't see that. So if he came back to life, it wouldn't really affect. If something changed in the past, it wouldn't really necessarily affect those other characters. And if they kept whatever changes specifically to the X-Men universe.
My thing with that, Scott, was I know everybody was so on, oh my God, Gambit died. And it was so sad and a crazy moment. But a lot of people died.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
In that episode. And it's always so funny because I always say that.
Green kid. I was more sad about the green kid because they kept showing him.
And then Magneto saying, "Close your eyes." You know,
he says, "He said, don't be scared." That's what he said. Don't be scared.
And that affected me more than Gambit because I was like, he ain't dead. He's coming back.
Yeah.
Back.
Magneto in every scene steals it, dude.
Yeah, no.
Steals it. Hey, you know what? Before we leave the Avenger piece, when everybody in there, it kind of bugs me that we have an Avengers and all these other heroes, and they allow the Sentinels.
Well, we don't know because he said a team. They didn't say Avengers.
No, but I mean, even all these heroes, exist.
Iron Man, Captain America, the Hulk, they were all there.
They're allowing this to happen. There's no way nobody ever stepped in, or that we know of, unless the Sentinels took them down too. But they'd have to make that a story. Like the Sentinels would have to play a part against Spider-Man, against just
that's what I'm saying.
Metahumans.
I like Scott's idea of what was everybody else going through at this time of happening.
So maybe on that they can explore that if they did, like I said, that little maybe Spider-Man was chasing down a Sentinel, or the Sentinel was after him, or because what are their feelings about metahumans? You know what I mean? Is it just mutants? Are they only programmed to go after mutants, or is it
super soldiers? Yeah, because Captain America is human. He's just a superhuman, right? It's
correct. No powers.
He doesn't have a mutant gene.
Yeah.
Now,
but Captain America Falcon is the only one that's safe.
Yeah, but to explore that, Chris, just a little bit, and I could kind of talk this with me because
Tony too.
The Sentinels were this underground thing created by that dude I forgot the guy who
Trask.
Not the Bastion, but
Trask.
Yes.
Trask.
And so they would be like this. They would pop up at these times, so they wouldn't be like walk around in public for the Avengers to know. They'd be hunted just like they would pop up. The Avengers would hunt them too. So almost you can headcanon in a way, if the Sentinels broke into somewhere and are after a mutant, the Avengers could interfere on that aspect, and they could be this underground thing that they don't allow. Like you're saying that they're allowed, like maybe they don't allow them, and they pop up.
They showed the X-Men as slaves building the future. Right? They showed the mutants doing stuff. The Avengers, whether they're together or not, allowed that.
Oh, maybe they're at the future. They were dead. That was 300 years, right?
No. This Storm was there, right? Did not show the modern X-Men as slaves? Did they not? Or I
thought it was like 300 years in evolution when there was no humans anymore. It was all mutants. I forgot.
There was two before. The beginning of Genosha was that. And then it's still, even though everything they did, he was telling the story that it still ends up in the future still happening like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He tried 200 times to change the future and he couldn't.
Correct.
do it.
And it's still,
and it was something where
no matter what they were doing,
all mutants were put to work in a way that I think all humans were evolved out or something. I forgot. I have to go back and
killed.
Yeah. It gets convoluted. Again, there is part of me that still just watches it because it's cool.
Yeah. Of course.
Because I'm like, whoa, look at that.
Yeah. And you guys are right. Episode 2, episode 5 are just like,
oh, dude, 5 put me on my ass, man.
Yeah.
Did you guys? Did you realize that Aaron from The Walking Dead is the voice of Professor X?
No,
he is one of the best voice actors out there.
100%.
Huh?
I don't understand how he does it.
He's a great impersonator.
He's a mimic. I think he's a lizard because like. I swear to God, dude, his mimic of doing voice. He then took over for Red Skull in Captain America.
Yeah.
He looks, sounds the same because what's his name didn't want to do it anymore.
Weaving. Yeah.
And if you look up his stuff of what he's done, you can't even imagine that was him. It's like they switched.
Yeah.
They had somebody else. The way that he does it is crazy. He's so good.
I didn't know that.
That's Ultron.
Yeah, he was. He was one
of the voices. Of Ultron.
Wait, he was Ultron in when?
What If he took over the?
Oh, and the what? I was going to say
What If?
Yeah.
He could do the impersonation of James Spader. Yeah.
He did the impersonation of James Spader doing Ultron. That is amazing.
Yeah,
he's so good. Impressive. He is so good. So because he sounds the same as when you were watching as a kid.
Yeah,
there was nothing. His tone, and I know it's a cartoon. His mannerism, I don't know if that makes sense, but the way he speaks and the soft tones and the everything, like when he was talking to, it's crazy. Yeah, that guy is insane. Like he's unbelievable at what he does.
So
again,
who went back and watched the original X-Men, like the continuation of this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like, just talk it through a little bit. Like, okay, Professor X got assassinated, and all of a sudden he's in this other world. Like,
I still have trouble with that.
Yeah, well, explain that to me, please. Everybody thought he was dead. Did he fake his death? Was that on purpose, or when he died,
he's doing it for love? He went with what is her name? Lalandra?
Yeah.
Was that how you say it, right?
The bird lady.
Messing up with the L's.
See, I haven't.
It was a love thing. So it was a love, and he felt he was done.
But that was a continuation of the older cartoon?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, we're picking up right.
Was that in the finale? Looks like they had to do the homework for the finale. I don't remember that in the finale. Was that in the?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Oh. Out of the old one.
So that was all okay. All right.
Yeah, that was all old. So you just kind of left.
It is great that now I want to watch all the original cartoons again, and because again, I don't remember them, dude. I don't remember it to that point where it's like I watched it for.
Going back, it's like going back and looking at A New Hope after watching Revenge of the
Sith.
It
is, it doesn't hold well.
Watching them back and forth, it's rough.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm like, oh, so we're just gonna spend the time in the mall. Okay, this. Is
yeah.
1996.
I do remember that.
97 here is all thriller, no filler, really. You know what I mean? There's a lot of filler in 93, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah,
so,
because you have the other episodes to go off of. You're continuing the story.
And there's a lot of episodes in those seasons. It wasn't 10.
Oh, there was so many episodes.
22 or some odd, right? There was a lot
of episodes. There's a lot of episodes. Yeah.
So less than I thought, but there's a lot, but less than I thought.
Yeah. So it's easier to have filler when you're doing that. When you're only doing 10, you better get at it.
You better get at it.
Listen exactly. To that, learn a lesson. And you don't have to make it all clean. Obviously, we'll still love it because this is the best damn thing on Disney Plus.
Did you guys have any favorite parts, like something that just stuck out to you? I know you were talking about the Wolverine Magneto. I screamed at that one too. I was in the lunchroom watching it, and I was just like, "Holy shit, they did it!"
Yeah.
I thought he killed him. That was really cool. But
that
a lot of people,
cliffhanger, because they left at that, where it's just Wolverine, just just torn apart, and they kind of froze on that
out of him. Yeah,
I was like, that's awesome. I can't wait. I was like, all right, cool. Tuesday night can't get here fast enough, or Wednesday, and that. But again, it just the next scene was like, he's good.
Yeah,
he's good.
The most jarring for my favorite episode was definitely 5. Right? Yeah. I mean, because it was all just. You think you're on one trajectory, things are going good, and then all hell breaks loose. It's awful, right?
You got to always be warned about that levity, man.
Right? But the most jarring thing to me was episode 5 to episode 6, because it's like, holy shit, what are they going to do? And next episode is Storm and Forge, and I couldn't give a shit about Storm and Forge at that
I
very
agree.
moment. I wanted to see what was going on with Genosha. I wanted to see what was going on with the mutant. What's happening?
Agree. I was all speed it up.
Not an internal struggle, and like
I said, think real hard to get your powers back. Okay,
they just needed her away so Genosha could take the hit.
Long hair, she's got long hair, black outfit, and all of her powers are back.
Right? Yeah. I do like the costume change, like at the end where they all reverted back to like the old costumes, and
that was dope.
Yeah,
what'd you expect? Like black leather when he gives it to Cable.
That was great.
That was good.
It was pretty cool though. Because it was like the giant size X-Men special. If you ever read the where they introduced like Nightcrawler and the new versions of all the characters where they had all their unique outfits, those are the outfits that they went to in their final battle, right? You had Jean Grey and her pointy faced mask outfit, which I never quite understood. But
Phoenix, man.
It was Marvel Girl.
It was very it was very Batman-y though. I always thought that looked like somebody from Adam West Batman.
Yeah, big
type look. Yeah. It really did. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah,
but I like that homage. I like that homage to the giant size X-Men. Them putting on those costumes. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like the end of Genosha. The end of that episode. Besides the Magneto stuff, which again every scene. Rogue at the end when it went quiet, the very last bit, and she was crying and said, "I can't feel you" when she was looking for
there was a lot of comments made that it was like to me it was like that's finite. I can't feel you. When
it needs to be finite.
That one Sentinel was blasting Beast, Sentinel or mutant whatever it called. I thought it was like, oh shit, he can't sense it. He's dead. They just killed Beast right there. Like I was almost half of me was like, do it, right?
Yeah, I agree. You're taking out some big dogs, and it's like wow.
The beginning of Transformers the movie. You took out some major dudes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. In a heartbeat.
And like didn't even think twice about it. And I was hoping that this was sort of like that. And again, long term, again, I guess that's me at this older age, where I'm more interested in a story with a beginning, middle, end versus the long haul, versus everybody's safe. So I'll say I like progression. Like, if they introduce a couple more, new mutants that took the place of, again, totally just like cool. Transform, that would have been cool. Like if Beast died, but there was someone else to take his place, kinda.
And there's plenty because they had him on the chart there. They had Scarlet Witch and Colossus still alive, and
right,
planning out the next team. That's neat.
You know what I mean? Like I felt like again, besides Gambit, and again Gambit, they teased it at the end that they're gonna do something, and somehow he survived. It might even be a clone of him, or it might even be a multiverse version. Maybe this one's dead. It's still.
I think it's going to be somebody different because Apocalypse has his Horsemen. So I believe it's going to be our one switch in a comic style thing and make Gambit one of those.
Or he comes back as somebody like a new evolved Gambit. It's a brand new character,
and
but it would start as
Gambit. That's going to be our way to switch it from story. And I'm
that's
cool with it.
That's how Angel became Archangel with the blue skin and the metal wings. Yeah,
I do remember that. Yeah,
correct. I see something. I think something in that sense, and that we're all going to be okay with it because we've been on this journey.
Sure.
Go ahead and switch it.
Work.
Don't give us everything that we know. Go ahead.
But sometimes the passing of the torch is fun. Kill some of the old guys and bring some new guys in and then mix them up.
Like I was saying, they killed so many. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's all background dudes, right? Like all the fodder.
Yeah,
but some of those background
still to say
opening scene was those 3 mutant kids.
Yeah,
the green dude. And then all of a sudden the woman's crying on his picture. I'm like, that hit harder than Magneto because again, I'm like, he ain't dead. You know what I mean? He ain't dead.
No, you can't. It's not X-Men without Magneto and Charles, really.
Yeah. So sometimes those really threats, you're just kind of like, okay, let's just get to the, who's crying? Boo-hoo. Let's just get to it because they're not dead. And that's, again, older me frustrated with storytelling, right?
Yeah.
It's not just X-Men; it's all over the place.
Yeah,
just kill him. Walking Dead, they killed him. Fucking just do it.
Magneto. Though this was other than I think it was X-Men First Class. This was the first time I really sympathized with Magneto. I'm like, the first X-Men when it was Ian McKellen and it showed the scene of him in the concentration camp and all that, and it's like, I get this guy's motivation, but this one, man, whenever he's the evolution of this character where he is actively trying to be better. He inherited the X-Men and he actively was like, I can do this.
He said
I can lead this team. I can be better. And then all the shit happens on Genosha. And just like that, he's like, no, I was right from the beginning.
Yeah. Proves his point big time. Yeah.
And Rogue taking his side. I'm like, yes.
I like that. It was like that.
When she picked
almost
it.
Like
Cool. And Xavier's saying you're proving all of his worst fears right. Type of thing, right? When he was trying to talk everybody down, and that's the problem is Magneto was right.
Magneto's always been
but the rogue jump over there was again. Those are the 2 coolest characters.
That was and I always thought Magneto was a sympathetic villain, always sympathetic. Agreed. You because you can see both sides. You can see Xavier's like coexist. You can see Magneto's like they're not going to let us. So we're going to strike first and always, it's going to be mutants first. Right. And I get that because like you put that in, you try to put that in real terms. You're like, yeah, dude, like what, like if we weren't mutants, then we have to protect ourselves because all it's going to take is one bad guy. I mean, it's this DC thing too. With Lex Luthor, that's his whole plot point was like the metahumans are danger. Superman's a danger to us. And he got, there's a lot of comic books of, he getting all the Earth on his side about it, and Superman's actually an enemy because if he decides to go bad, we can't do anything about it. And so that's Magneto. That's again, you see the mutants point, and then you see the mutants point. Like, we just want to live and do it. It's like, yeah, well, that's not that easy.
There's still some dangerous ones of you, right?
And
like
obviously,
regular people, and you're more dangerous than.
I mean, we're like Sabretooth is a perfect example. We just kill him. Like he's
You know who's really dangerous is Morph.
Yes. Morph confused the hell out of me. I'm like, oh, it's Morph. It's Morph. Like, what is that?
It seems like not only can he take on their look, but their abilities as well.
Crazy,
it's
right?
like, holy shit.
It's not like Mystique, right? Like Mystique is takes on the
It's weird. It's overpowered.
Morph was awesome.
It's OP.
Odd.
It's OP, dude.
Yeah,
it's overpowered, but he doesn't. It seems like he doesn't have the skill level to use it effectively yet.
Yeah,
right, and the stamina. So you can take him out pretty easy if you just wear him down.
Like I could be Juggernaut for 2 seconds, and he was.
Like he wouldn't be able to be Magneto and fix it all.
Right.
He wouldn't be able to. He probably couldn't be an Omega level.
Yeah.
Right. Well, unless Hulk's probably Omega level strength. He's not a mutant though, so never mind.
No. It was done in a lab. So
right,
yeah.
Gamma rays.
I think Rogue was just the standout for this one.
Yeah,
she was.
Rogue was definitely the center point. Like
she
Chris
was
said,
so cool.
It wasn't Wolverine. It was Rogue and Cyclops and Jean Grey. I mean, those 3 were like the standout.
Rogue was
and of course Magneto.
I think my whole favorite part was her after the whole game. I love the interaction with Cap. That was freaking awesome. It was so real. So you're not going to do nothing. You're not going to help. And he was coming with a shield. And she threw the shield.
Yeah.
God, that was great. That was such a big FU then. She did.
Yeah. And what was that? It had a cool throwback, like Rogue versus the Hulk moment with that containment. And he goes, relax. This thing is designed to keep out the Hulk. And he's like, and Rogue just like, whoosh, just busted through like nothing. I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
It was
so
good. She was good.
I'm trying to remember Rogue's. I know Rogue has the ability to absorb other powers. If memory serves, she can then retain those powers and call them back at any time. That's why
what I understand.
That's why she's got super strength.
Yeah.
But she doesn't seem to use many of those powers other than flight and super strength, because I've seen. I mean, she absorbs anybody that she touches. She absorbs their ability
and their life too. Yeah,
and their life force. Yeah.
The doctor to deliver the baby.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Yeah. The doctor.
She knew everything. Boom.
Yeah. So that's just my question. I'm verifying that she just retains that, right? Those abilities.
I assume.
I believe that. That's what I always thought.
Yeah,
that's what I thought too. Because
it's almost like
Jules was asking me,
do you guys
what other powers does she have? And I'm like,
yeah, it's like Photon from in the comic from Captain Marvel. She comes into contact with anybody, she absorbs their powers. As she becomes the most OP mutant or whatever ever, because it's like unstoppable. And she was in WandaVision.
WandaVision. Then theoretically, if she touched Morph, right, then she could turn into anybody. And if she had touched any of those people,
Morph would die.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Morph. I'm not worried about Morph.
I know, but that's probably why she didn't do it. Yeah.
But
go ahead.
She could take that, and if she's touched, like say the Hulk, and she's ever drained him a little bit, now she would have full Hulk strength.
I would
or Magneto, because we know she's touched Magneto all up and down, right?
Yeah.
So,
but
but she hasn't drained him,
right?
She hasn't drained.
That's the reason why she was in love with Magneto.
Yeah, but she wouldn't be able to take his powers.
Correct. No, it wasn't. It was fighting her off. That was her whole thing of being with him. She finally could touch somebody.
So anybody else, she could pull that off.
All right. So her attribute, she gains memory, power absorption through physical contact, which permanently absorbs superpowers.
Permanently absorbs superpowers.
Permanently absorbs.
Take them all out and just rule.
She constantly uses superhuman strength, speed, stamina, agility, and near invulnerability, plus flight.
Yeah.
So
very OP.
Pretty OP. Why did I not know that? Like,
when Stan Lee was creating his character, did he think about that? Like how, like that kind of powers, did they ever explore that? Like,
what's her weakness?
But her weakness is she can't touch anybody. She can't have the physical relationship with anybody.
She's gonna die of a broken heart. She's not gonna get Padma'd. She would. How do I take her out? Right.
Think about it. So her weakness is she's too nice. She's too nice.
That's great. That's not going to kill her. How does Magneto kill Rogue? Not that he wants to. I'm just theorizing. How does a Sentinel kill Rogue?
I don't know. Well, Sentinels,
right? Like
there's loopholes through everything.
I can kill Superman.
Yeah.
Why does Wolverine stab everybody when they know he's not killing them? You know what I mean? Like,
why do people stab in the gut? That was, hey, by the way, to the Gambit point, it was this bottom right abdomen, right? It was the same spot Magneto got stabbed.
How many stomachs does he have?
How many you got there?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
you're right.
It's
like
through somewhere you could probably survive, right?
Dude,
it wasn't through the heart. Yeah. It wasn't in your lungs.
Yeah. Well, the whole
here.
cartoon. I mean, they were beating the shit out of each other. I mean, beaming. Like even Cyclops' beam did nothing to anybody. It just knocked me down. Like what? So where?
It's not a laser. It's his optic blasts aren't lasers that burst. It's more like a punch. It's like you're
right. That's what I'm saying. Like So. So you have these things, and so I'm like, okay, looking at Bastion, right? How powerful he got as the mutant sentinel. All right. They didn't kill him. They couldn't even combine powers. Like nothing was doing anything. Like where's that point where these powers are effective that are versus other like a major threat? You know what I mean? Like where and what point do you call the Avengers?
See, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah. Like, how are they around? What
point do you call Thor? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have gods.
Yeah, I'm saying like what point is this does not work?
Yeah, when Storm couldn't do her lightning, and like we'll just call Thor.
Yeah.
Sorry,
see, to me, most of it's all distractions. Like Jubilee, Storm, they're all distractions. You know, I mean, they can stop the humans and they're right on thing, right? But you know, but when you get like mutants like Rogue, and you get mutants like Morph, and you get mutants like those ones that are just like they absorb and they could become.
We can kill Morph, them? And Morph.
Yeah, okay. Let's say Rogue. What if Mr. Sinister cloned Rogue, right? And then made her bad, and then like put her with memories of made her bad. Like, what's to stop? How can you stop her? That's a legit question. Yeah. How could you stop? Can you? Is she physically able to be harmed?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think so.
Because you just cut off her head. I mean, does it grow back like Deadpool? I mean,
she's invulnerable. You can't pierce her skin,
which means you can't clone her.
Okay. What if she volunteered? But she bled in this one. She bled. So if you have her,
wanted to.
Okay. What if she wanted to be?
Just kidding. She decided to bleed. Did she bleed?
Yeah,
I think so. It makes me want to explore the comic. It makes me want to go read the comic. It really does. Like I want to know.
No. Here,
then the show did its job.
Hold on. Yeah, stop. Why do we care if her nose is bleeding? We're doing it.
We're
doing it now. Yeah. We're starting with it.
Because it's fun. It's fun. That's why.
I know.
Because it's a legit conversation to have. Like, how do you really stop? Like, what?
Because after each episode of this show, I do nothing but go, "This is the best fucking animated show." Every single week.
Start going like
every week. And we're sitting here right now together, and I'm sitting here ready to go. Oh man.
I know.
I enjoyed it.
I did too, man. I really did. And it was refreshing to the point too. It's like that was cool. And then you could talk to people. And it is one of those fleeting mention again, what I know Ernie's a little bit more involved in taking Marvel universe serious than we do. Cause we're like at Star Wars, right? I know Ernie does that too, but this is a show where I can go like, that was cool. And then just move on to something else. I can't do that with Star Wars. Star Wars is different. It just can't. I'm glad that I can do that with other IPs. Like, like that was awesome.
Yeah, because it gives me a break from the other crap, right? The worry and the anxiety that Star Wars gives me.
There was people who are already trying to put this in together that our X-Men cartoon is our X-Men MCU.
Canon? Is it MCU canon?
Right. That's what they're trying to say, because when Xavier came out in his hover chair, was the exact same chair. The music played.
in that universe, in that
universe,
in that alternate universe,
in Krasinski's
but
world.
We don't know where it is.
Could be
as far as that, because then the new one with Beast, how they shown Beast a couple of times and everything, and he was with what's her name after the Marvels, and
but that was the Fox Beast.
Yeah, they're saying that they were going to. That's our Beast that we see in the cartoon. There's some points to it.
Oh
no,
I wouldn't say
know.
that. He's definitely the X-Men, the Black Leather.
It can't happen because it can't be in the same universe because they've got a Spider-Man that's not Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It can't work.
It didn't seem like they were teamed up. The time-wise wasn't working. I don't.
Yeah,
but the X-Men, the multiverse of madness.
Yes,
side,
that
could
definitely.
That makes sense to me. Yeah. I always thought like
that's where his hover chair was, right? That's in that universe.
Correct.
So that's perfect. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah,
that works. I am still curious on when they do the X-Men proper into the MCU, how they're going to do it. Is it going to be visiting another planet and we're just going to have adventures there, or is it going to be incorporated to?
I'm totally excited to see what this new Deadpool is going to be with Wolverine.
That's it,
right?
Man.
Is that the key? That's the key,
right? That's what I feel is it's going to be like an explanation type thing of what's going to happen, or he does something. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be an explanation movie.
See, in my head, Ernie, to me, they've already laid the groundwork, but obviously they're not going that direction. But when Wanda created that dome over whatever, that's the point where in WandaVision, that's the point where mutations could have triggered. So right after Endgame, Wanda did her thing, and the Scarlet Witch triggered these mutations in people, these genetic mutations that advanced mutants, and you could have had mutants existed from that point on.
Yeah, it needs to go back.
Enter the MCU. Yeah,
you know they could tie it into the Captain Marvel movie too, because the original Captain Marvel movie took place in the 90s, right?
Late
80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
right.
I think it was the 80s.
Samuel Jackson is okay. So what if something happened in that movie that could have triggered the mutant gene that's in humanity, and it just took this time around now for all of those mutant abilities to come out, right? Through.
So it has been.
I like the idea of
and it's been said
existing. Wolverine's been around for how long? You know,
it has been said in Miss Marvel, the other Disney show that just happened.
Okay,
they said mutant gene, that she has the mutant gene. The kid said it, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is the first time that we're saying."
Oh, because Photon. You're talking about, or what's her name?
No, Miss Marvel.
Who has the other Miss Marvel has the mutant gene, or the
yes?
Oh, I thought the other one did. Okay,
and they said it.
I thought she just had a bracelet that made powers.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
no, they have that for powers, but she's able.
Oh no, America Chavez
because of her mutant gene.
Right, that's what he's talking about.
America Chavez.
No, Miss Marvel.
Because they said it at America Chavez. They called her a mutant too. Did they not?
I don't.
The one
know.
that could time jump on her own.
I just opened up a freaking wormhole here, and I can't get out of it now.
I'm just saying. I know the very first
Marvel
time
did.
MCU has. They said it to her. Her friend, with her friend, and they scan her, and he says, "Oh, you have the mutant gene."
Oh.
If you want to keep it in universe without going to another dimension or another universe or something like that, you've got to tie it into some kind of event that would trigger the mutant gene, right? Otherwise, we would have mutants this entire time. So if you go back to the movie that stood out first, which would be Captain America, that wouldn't work. But if you went to Captain Marvel, which took place in the late 80s, early 90s, something there with her and the Kree and all that could have happened that could have triggered a mutant gene. They could explain it that way, you know.
They can explain MCU that way. Yeah,
The problem is then you got Apocalypse, who was ancient, right?
Well, you can still
who's 200 years
get away
old.
with it.
You
So,
got, all these.
It's exactly what we were saying in the cartoon. Why didn't the Avengers help?
Yeah, you just leave them in the background. These guys.
So, like I said, the X-Men could have been there. It's just that we didn't see that story. We saw the Avengers part of the Endgame.
Yeah.
But you can also do this whole twofold thing where mutants were there, like the main ones, like Apocalypse, like Wolverine, Sabretooth, like maybe they were super, whatever, but there weren't enough for it to do any teams, and it was a very unknown thing happening, and then an event triggered this thing where now we've got a whole shit ton. Like, you can still have your flagship mutants, and then you have this event that triggered. Oh, now the X-Men were you have to change Xavier, and you might have to change Magneto in that sense, because that battle has always been a thing that ruled the X-Men, whatever. But the X-Men mutations existing could be there that just weren't prevalent in the end game.
Or a side story was they were dealing with something of their own at that same time.
Could be too.
What the hell is going on? But there are so many things that happened with the MCU.
Well, just like Endgame, what's her name? The astral plane chick. That the Hulk went back, and she was fighting in the war in the first Avengers movie, but we didn't see her. But she was doing it. She was fighting in that war. It's like, well, where was she? Well, we knew where she was, so we can have Wolverine battling guys from Loki's army, and we just never seen it. I don't know. It's just something about government. He was working for the government. I don't know. It's like, whatever.
One of the things I'm getting at, though, is there has to be a time shift, right? Especially if you've got X-Men, Xavier, and
you have to change them. You have to
right. Like we were saying before, putting it back during the civil rights movement would be effective, right? That sets it another 20 years away from World War II, and that gives you
but that means they can't get triggered in the 90s.
Right. I'm saying you have to change it.
My point. That was my point. It has to be back. Yeah. We have old mutants, and
unless I can't think of anything. I mean, what else? What happened in?
But have a Xavier and Magneto from the 90s would be lame as hell.
Yeah,
right? Honestly,
you would have to change. I think honestly, like here we go, theory crafting MCU. Honestly, I think the mutants can stay. Not you have to change the time on a lot, but I think Professor X and Magneto are either not, they don't do it, but then like what's the point sometimes?
Yeah.
Or it's completely different to where it's something that's happening now that in the future that he will become the Professor X and Magneto in the future. I know.
I hate it all. I just they have to exist. That's all. Or right now, Deadpool that's the theory crafting. Deadpool is what it is.
I don't know. You guys could just stay out of my MCU.
Where everything Deadpool's obviously with the TVA. We know they have a million different timelines. You can merge it all somehow.
Bring them in, right?
We'll just find the one where they all. This is our. Guess what? We're in this new timeline.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to focus on.
I hope they do that with Deadpool. My worst fear is that we're putting all of our worst fear. So it's melodramatic.
I know.
My fear is that we're putting all our faith in Deadpool to do all these connections and all this,
the R-rated one
manipulation, and it's just not going to happen. It's just going to be a fun adventure, right?
You're right.
Yeah. Kind of like the Bad Batch was. We put all of our hopes into the Bad Batch going into this direction, and it was just a fun adventure.
But he said he said it. MCU Jesus. If he's not the savior, what is he?
It's a very comic book way of bringing in characters, being like, "Oh, we'll pluck them from this world."
But that's how Deadpool. And that's how Deadpool is, though, too. So remember, Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, right?
Yeah.
He's going to kill he's going to kill the Fox universe. That's clear, right? So I don't know. And they're in the void the whole damn time. So what do I know?
We'll wait and see, right? We'll wait and see. We'll just wait and see.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Fun. I want to just enjoy it. I gotta stop.
Well, I mean, I think we are. I mean, like I said,
I'm enjoying it a lot less now. Stupid X-Men show.
It's okay. Cartoons aside, it's when we put it in the MCU. That's when things get a little bit like crap,
wonky.
Yeah, that because now we're trying to make it work with the 20 years that or the 20 films that we have. 22 films that we have, and now how does a new era of superheroes work unless you just stop that era and continue like a brand new one? But how do they coexist? It's hard because they weren't there. No mention, not even anything.
It's how Deadpool is going to do it, dude.
Unless they Snyder cut it.
And Fantastic Four is based in the 60s, right?
Yes.
So. Right now in Deadpool, I could totally see him somehow pulling them in at the end and an end credit scene, and that's kind of where Fantastic Four ends up ending in that same after credit scene from their point of view. See, that's how I don't want to do that. That makes no sense. I have no rhyme or reason to think that.
Well, Fantastic Four.
I'm not versed in all this like I am Star Wars, and here I am.
Fantastic Four could be brought up to speed, but X-Men are hard. It's hard with the mutants. It really is because Fantastic Four is easier. It's way because it's just they went out in the space, got hit by gamma rays, came back with powers. Anybody can do that.
I know nothing about Fantastic Four at all.
That's all
Reed Richards, Stu Storm, Johnny, and the thing.
Yeah, just the movie stuff.
Yeah. X-Men '97 was great.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
it was so good.
It was. Okay,
I can't wait for season 2.
Thank you, Ernie.
Me too. Now, when you talk to Jake, ask. They obviously knew there was a season 2. Hopefully that was greenlit ahead of time, not to just just make sure of that, because that would have been pretty jacked up if they didn't get greenlit.
Sure. No. They always go into these things with a plan for at least 2 seasons before they, because it takes a lot to get it takes a lot of time to produce these things. So,
man, it was good. It was as the best. Dude, that was the best cartoon I've seen in a long time.
I liked it because I always talk about this, and I'll leave it like this. And you guys' final thoughts, and we can get out of here. You know, is that what I appreciated the most, and what I want out of a lot of my childhood nostalgia is to be just thrown into the world of high fantasy and live in it, where it all exists, and just don't explain it to me. Just give it to me, and I love that was really cool. So like, we were in the Marvel world of animation, and it wasn't just X-Men. It was like, this was going on, and you can understand the threat that was being dealt with, and the X-Men dealing with it, and the Avengers having their, it was like on the teeter of like, should we? I mean, it wasn't said, but it was like they were there, you know, and it could have been an Avengers type interference kind of, you know, stuff. So I appreciate that so much, and I want that out of G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man. If they do it, high fantasy, don't explain, don't ground it on Earth, don't explain it to me. Just do it, right? Just do it.
That makes sense. Okay, because I like that they focused more on story and meaning and what was going on and why, more so than explaining how other stuff was going on, like Phoenix.
Yeah.
They didn't have to go through the explanation on that, right? Storm's powers notwithstanding, because that had to be done.
Right.
But so they did focus more on that than the other stuff. The action was great, everything was great, but sometimes the shit just happened. To your point about the high fantasy, I didn't need an explanation on Phoenix. It was just like, it was just jarring because it was out of the clear blue damn sky.
As a kid, we didn't get it. We just got it, you know?
And when we said that earlier, it completely made sense. But all in all, dude, this is an A+. Absolutely loved it. Rogue and Magneto killed the whole thing.
Stole the show.
And matter of fact, Mr. Sinister too is pretty wicked.
He was awesome.
Pretty great character.
Yeah.
So
was Mojo, even though it was like a cameo. Mojo was
great stuff, man. From first episode on, after the first episode, I was hooked, and it didn't disappoint me one single week.
And it was a beautiful animated. It was beautifully animated too.
Yeah, and it left us with enough knowing everybody's screwed right now.
Yeah,
and we hope they. You know, I love it. So that's my end.
Cool.
Yep. You guys looking forward to Apocalypse?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to have a Apocalypse toy riding one. You know, remember the Skeleton Warriors back in the day?
Yes.
Well, I bought the motorcycle and I had Apocalypse riding a motorcycle, and I always liked that because I always liked Apocalypse as the villain in Marvel in general. So I am looking forward to that. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, he looked pretty. He looked interesting. Young Apocalypse before he became, he became Apocalypse.
And then that end credits. Go back and watch the end that end credits scene, because that is the proper Apocalypse that they show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
He looks a lot better than Oscar Isaacs, right?
Oh God, I don't even want to look at it. All right, Ernie. Final thoughts. You loved it. Let's go. What's up?
It was great. I loved it.
Nice.
It was great. I loved it. Just period. I loved it. It was great. I can't wait for the next one. It took me back, and I want more.
Was it supposed to be coming pretty quick? Did anybody hear?
I'll ask Jake. I'll see what he said. I'll see. He's got the fine line of what he can say and what he can't say. So
I want to say that I read somewhere that they planned on doing a couple seasons of these. Actually, maybe as much as 5, if I'm not mistaken. But they were going to try and do them in quick succession, so nobody was waiting around for them. You know, a la Cobra Kai bullshit,
like that.
or Stranger Things, right?
I know, right? Like, they're like 30 years old by the time.
Right. Yeah. By the way, we talked about actors in Star Wars. We missed the boat on Millie Brown, right? As Leia,
as a young Leia.
Yeah, anywhere in there. Well, she still could be, but I think she's aged out of that look. Could have
Yeah.
grabbed her early on Stranger Things and been a great addition. So
I agree.
Subtopic.
All right, guys. Well, Beyond the Pit's always fun. It's just banter, talk about whatever, and that was awesome.
Almost messed up X-Men 97 for ourselves. What the hell?
Sorry, my bad.
I am. When we just all did damn theory crafts. I might retire from podcasting. I might like Star Wars more again.
I don't think so, because we do this if we got together. I know. We would just do the same thing. We just wouldn't record it.
I know. I'd be
just off about things we can't control. That's all. That's what we do. All right, guys. All right, let's get out of here. Well, bye. That's our outro is basically saying bye. So
toodles.
Keep it nerdy, everybody.
Later.
Whatevs.
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.